In this video I'm going to demonstrate the features of the ADRIFT map so you can see how easy it is to use, how powerful it is, and how quickly you can set up a basic layout for your adventure. When you start up ADRIFT, you'll get a screen very similar to this one. So the large light green area is the map. You've got different windows down the bottom which are your lists for everything in the game, such as your locations, objects, characters and so on. And on the left hand side you have a tree view here which allows you to organize all your folders, very similar to Windows Explorer. So to create a location in the room, all we have to do is put the mouse over the map and double click, and there we go, we have a new location. Now you'll notice the location name has got square brackets around it. So what that means is the room is in rename mode. So we can just type a location name for it here, such as living room. Press enter and that submits it. So there we go, we have a room. There's also another way we can add a location, and that's with the Add Location button. So if we click on Add Location here, it simply creates a new location in the center of the map. Again, that's in edit mode, so we'll give it another name, hallway. And I'll just create a third one down here of kitchen. So there we go. That's how easy it is to create 3 rooms in the map. The ADRIFT map doesn't just simply show maps in 2 dimensions. We can actually rotate this around. So to do that, put the mouse over an empty part of the map, hold down the left button, and you'll notice the cursor changes there. And then all we do is move the cursor around whilst that left button's down, and we can rotate it. Now, the reason for that is that when you've got multiple levels on the map, then you can see quite clearly how rooms interact with each other on different levels. We can also move the map around by pressing down the right mouse button in a blank area of the map. So to do that, again, the cursor changes there so you can see what's happening, and you can just move the whole map about. Now you'll notice that when we went into the map there, the toolbar at the top has changed. It does that automatically when you're actually in the map itself. So all these options are specific to the map. If we went out to a different part, you'll notice there it's gone back to the main part, and go back into the map, we've got our map tools. So we've got different options here. So the show axes, that there gives us our X, Y and Z dimensions. Again, you can see that clearly if I rotate the map. And show grid lines. Now you'll notice that when I clicked on that show grid lines, it didn't actually bring up the grid. And the reason for that is it only shows the grid line when you have a node selected. So if I select living room, there we go. That makes it very clear now. The other options on here are plan view. Now what that does is resets the map back to plan where we have it rotated here. You can simply see it now in plan view. And centralized map. So that brings all the nodes, finds a center point and brings that into view, which can be quite useful, especially if you've sort of moved the map out there. Just bring it back. And we've got zoom in and zoom out buttons, which are pretty obvious really. Now, in addition to the zoom in and zoom out buttons, we can actually use the scroll wheel on your mouse if you've got one. And you can zoom in and out that way. To select different nodes, it's very simple. You just click on them to select. If you double click on one of them, it actually brings out the editor for that room. You can deselect all the nodes by just clicking in an empty area of the map. Now we can move locations around simply by selecting a node, and you'll see that the cursor now changes to a 4-arrow cursor when we have it over one of the locations. You can just drag that around with the left button. It makes it very simple to create a layout that you want. In addition, you can actually resize the nodes as well. So to do that, you put the mouse over one of the orange anchors when you've got a location selected. And you can simply drag that to the shape that you want. You can also select multiple locations by using the control button here on your keyboard. So if you hold down control, and you can actually select more than one node. and it works as a toggle, so you can deselect nodes as well by keeping that control button selected and clicking on other ones. Now that's quite useful because it allows you to then move more than one node about. It actually even allows you to resize multiple nodes at the same time. Another way of selecting more than one node is using the Shift button on your keyboard. So if you hold down Shift and then use the left mouse button, you can actually create a lasso, and that allows you to then select nodes that way. So at the moment we've got 3 locations in our map, but we can't actually move from any of the locations to any other ones because we don't have any links between them. So to create a link between 2 locations, select one of the locations and select which exit you want the link to appear from. So all links have to go from either a corner or a midpoint. The midpoints correspond to north, east, south, and west. Then you've got your northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. So to create a link, double-click on one of the anchor points. Now what this does is it creates a link here, and that automatically follows the mouse. To link it into another room, you have to select one of the 8 anchor points on the other location that you want it to go to. So you just put the mouse over where that would be, single click, and there we go. We now have our link between the 2 rooms. You'll see that even if you move the location about, that link stays in place. So I'll go ahead to create a link between the hallway and the kitchen. If you start to create a location and then realize that you don't actually want to create it, you can just press the escape button and that'll cancel the link. You can also edit a link by double-clicking on one end of an existing link. And that allows you to change it if you wanted. You could change it to go to a different location. If you want to create a link from a location but don't have a final destination for the link, you can select the anchor, double-click to create the link, and if you select the opposite side from the outgoing location and click that, you'll create a link that goes nowhere. Now if you right click on a location, it'll bring up a menu here. So the default, which would be the same as double clicking it, is to edit location. We can also rename it. Or delete it. Now what you'll notice here is it checks to see if that location is used elsewhere, and in this example, because there's a link to hallway, it actually prompts you, so we won't delete that for now. And the other options are that you can move a location up or down, and here you can actually start to see the 3D effect here. So if I move that down, we'll move it back up. And you'll notice that any node that's not on the current plane is actually dimmed, so that only nodes on the current plane are all highlighted fully. That allows you to create the layout exactly as you want it. In addition to the menu on the locations, the links themselves have got a menu. So if you select one of the endpoints of a link, then you'll have a menu here. So we can actually change that link to be a one-way link. At the moment it's a two-way link, which means you can go from the living room to the hallway, and you can also go from the hallway back to the living room. So we make that a one-way link, then what you notice here is that there's an arrow going from the living room to the hallway. It always draws that arrow in the direction that you created the link, so we created the link starting from the living room to the hallway. You can change that back to a two-way link by just deselecting that option there. We also have the option to delete the link or add an anchor. Now anchors are quite useful because that allows you to control the exact direction the link goes. You can see at the moment all these links are drawn automatically. But I'll show you an example. I've got 3 locations here, and we have a link that goes from one location to another like that. You can see that's just drawn a horrible line right across that location in the middle. So if we add an anchor, you can see it's created an anchor point here. We can actually move that about, and you can create as many anchors as you want, so that you can finely tune exactly how that line will go. Now, when we've created a new location with the Add Location button, it has created it in the center of the existing map. If we go back to the main menu and add a location here, what happens if I just go test location? Now, rather than add it on the existing map, it's actually created a new page on our map and added it there. That allows us to create different sorts of scenes that are separated from each other. If we wanted to, we could actually move that back to the existing page. If we right-click on it, we've now got this extra option here, Move to Page, Page 1. Now, Page 1 and Page 2 aren't necessarily the best things, labels for our map, so we can make that more sensible by right-clicking on the tab, Rename Page. So that might be House, and Page 2 might be Garden, for example. I think that basically covers everything that I wanted to show you about the map. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching.